Hello dear viewers and welcome to a new edition of the Daily Debate. I'm your host for tonight, Mohamed, and we'll be talking tonight about Egypt, that big market that's trying to be an investment hub. We'll be talking about the investment potentials, the investment challenges, the investment privilege and the investment opportunities here in Egypt, and also about the laws and the policies that aim to encourage investments and protect the rights of local and foreign investors alike, as Egypt is trying to create a favorable business atmosphere to attract investments and grow its economy. That will be our main topic here tonight. And first, let's take a look at this report that tackles some of the potentials and opportunities for investment here in Egypt.
The investment climate in Egypt is one of the most important gains witnessed by the economic reform period since the start of the implementation until now, due to the importance of this climate to attract investments and encourage business owners to pump new investments, raise employment rates and provide job opportunities, thus achieving the targeted growth rates. And the legislative amendments came at the forefront of efforts to create the appropriate investment environment and to open the door for the Egyptian and foreign private sector to contribute to increasing employment rates, growth and providing job opportunities for young people. Since the start of the economic reform program, the Egyptian state has been keen to provide a legislative environment that supports investment through a comprehensive reform of all laws affecting the investment climate and business environment in Egypt. It seeks to provide incentives, achieve governance, facilitate cross-border trade, provide guarantees that protect against arbitrary decisions, and come up with regulatory tools and procedures to facilitate the investment process and start practicing the activity, in addition to a set of other complementary laws to this law related to all economic fields and sectors. Legislative reform in Egypt has also witnessed amendments to the law on joint stock companies, partnerships limited by shares, limited liability companies and one-person companies, which are classified as the largest since the inception of this law in 1981, and aim to strengthen corporate governance and related disclosure and improve Egypt's position in relevant international reports linking to the investment climate, such as the Global Competitiveness Report issued by the World Economic Forum, which required amendments to the current corporate law to keep pace with developments in the investment process globally. The amendments activated the working mechanisms of single-person companies and limited liability companies, regulating the issuance of companies' shares and registering them in the central depository, with the addition of the permissibility of using preferred issuance shares, even if this was not stipulated in the company's statute, while setting the controls for their issuance to protect of the shareholders. The adoption of the restructuring and prevention of bankruptcy composition law during 2018 was enough to bring about a radical change in the mental image taken from the investment climate in Egypt for all those who wish to secure safe exit from the market in case of default. An easy and uncomplicated mechanism for investors to exit the market, in addition to sparing defaulting investors the penalty of imprisonment, which contributes to attracting more investments.
Right, many thanks to Manal Al-Ibyari for this report. Also, thanks to Rania Abdessalem and Khalid Al-Ibyari. And that was a report on the laws and policies that encourage investment here in Egypt and protect the rights of foreign and local investors alike. Now, let's watch another report here in the daily debate about the privileges, the opportunities, and the challenges as well, and the potentials and the chances for investment here in Egypt.
Is rendered such an attractive investment hub due to its enormous privileges and potentials. On top of these comes the strategic geographical location, the available of highly efficient workforce, and integrated infrastructure that include a modern and high-tech network of roads, means of transportation, bridges and tunnels, a strong telecommunication sector, an advanced electricity network, and a diversified industrial base. This is supported by a series of legislations, including laws, regulations, and resolutions, on top of which comes the new investment law that provides companies e-registration, creates an investors service center that acts as a one-stop shop for issuing all licenses, thus easing the burden the investors previously faced in dealing with a range of state agencies. In addition, the new investment law provides a raft of incentives, namely tax cuts and allocation of land plots for free. Egypt's investment opportunities are not enhanced only by the new investment law, but also by a number of new laws and regulations, namely the executive regulation for licensing industrial establishments that allows for their licensing process to be finished within 7 days instead of 600, as it was before, in addition to the new law regulating gas market in Egypt that aims at curbing the role of the government and turning it to be only a regulator of the market. All these legislations help provide a suitable environment ripe for investment, thus paving the way for more businessmen and companies to launch a wave of new investments or extending the already established ones all over Egypt. In view of all these privileges and potentials Egypt enjoys, it is teeming with investment opportunities in all of its 27 governorates in various fields and sectors, including industry, agriculture, trade, education, health, transportation, tourism, housing, construction, sport, electricity, energy, water, and telecommunications. Investment opportunities in Egypt are enhanced by a series of mega projects, on top of which the Suez Canal Corridor Development Project that groups a number of mega industrial, technological, and logistics zones, the 1.5 million Faddens Reclamation Project, the establishment of new cities all over Egypt, the new administrative and economic capital project, ongoing arrangements for building the new nuclear power plant with the aim of boosting electricity generation, the Golden Triangle Project, the National Project for Developing Sinai and Upper Egypt, Al Galila Mountain Project, Fish Farming Project, the Logistics Center for Grain Handling and Storage in Damietta, the National Project for Technological Incubators, in addition to many other mega projects.
Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching Nile TV. That was the call for Al-Isha, prayer Adhan Al-Isha, and we're now joined here in the studio in the daily debate by our dear guest, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economic expert. A very good evening to you, Dr. Roshdy, and thanks for coming. We're talking here about the investment opportunities in Egypt. This in the midst of huge challenges, I mean global challenges mainly. A lot has changed in the past few years as the government tries to make Egypt the hub it deserves to be and facilitate investment for foreign and local investors alike. How do you see the progress? How do you see the challenges? How do you see the opportunities? I mean, basically, the floor is yours.
First of all, good evening to you and our audience, and I would like to thank you and Daily Debate program team for this kind hosting today. First of all, I would like to start with one of the most important things to simplify to our audience, which is the GDP structure, which is the most important thing which is driving us to which channel shall we focus on. The GDP structure, to simplify to our audience, consists of three main parts, which is the agricultural part, the industrial part, and the service part. Each one of them is contributing on our GDP structure and our GDP growth, which is the most important thing to any country to have a solid economy to grow its GDP. But the distribution is totally different based on the country need. Accordingly, if we analyze it a little bit deeply, we can find that the most added value to the GDP, which is the service part, which is the highest added value. Accordingly, if you would like to have what we are calling it the quick win, you have to focus on the service part.
The tourism, the technology.
Thank you.
You name it, the banking.
Thank you so much, and this is the challenge. And if we turn it back to your question concerning the strengths, the opportunities, what I'm calling it in another way, and the scientists agreed on it, which is the SWOT analysis or TWAS analysis or TOS analysis, which is, we can say it, S for strengths, W for weak, O for opportunities, T for threats.
Of course, communications, health, education, all the slides and services.
Perfect. Accordingly, if I would like to just recently, the scientists, they inverted the letters to say TWAS analysis. The threats, we can invert it into opportunities. Like one of the most important threats that the global faced it, which is a pandemic, the COVID-19. It was a great threat. What happened? We created an opportunity from it, which is the digitalization. We go for a new era. Accordingly, for the weak points, we have to find a stance point from it. Nowadays, if we would like to return back to our question concerning the GDP structure and the challenges that we are facing, we have a lot of challenges. One of the most important things is to bring FDI, which will have the highest impact to have what we are calling it the quick win. To bring FDI, you have to focus on a lot of things. One of the most important things, which is the education, the infrastructure. You have to have solid infrastructure in terms of electricity, in terms of roads, a lot of things. And as you can see, and our audience nowadays, that the government and the presidential Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is focusing on this, and he has a lot of ambitious plans concerning the infrastructures. We can see easily that our ranking concerning the roads, we jumped, as far as I recall, reached to the 18th, as far as I recall, rank globally in terms of the quality of roads. How this happened? By investing in the infrastructure, and this is giving a positive signal message to the investors to come. We have a great infrastructure. You can do a lot of things. You have electricity for your factory, you have water, you have good roads to deliver your products across the country, and you can import your products. This is one of the most important things. And in parallel, you have to have the manpower. If we are talking about concerning the manpower, we have to focus on two main things, which is the educational part and the health part. Accordingly, in my humble opinion, if you would like to have a solid or strong country, you have to invest in the manpower. What we are seeing nowadays, the education budget is increased and the health budget is increasing rapidly, and the government has a great strategy under the direction of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to have one of the most important projects, in my humble opinion, the NHS, National Health System, Unified National Health System, that serve all Egyptian citizens. Accordingly, the manpower, the infrastructure is quite strong. You give us positive signal messages to the globe that we have a strong country, stable in terms of politics.
And there is a special branch for human development now in the new cabinet.
Yes, and also you can see a lot of things. One of the most important academic, which is
additions, maybe
the National Training Academy.
Yeah.
This is one of the most important things. Accordingly, you can find that the government is investing in manpower, education, which is the education part, and the health part. This will positively impact the FDI and will attract more FDI. And you can see this easily in terms of the increase of FDI and the increase of also the foreign currency CVE reserve.
A very important point that you mentioned, Dr. Roshdy. At the same time, you would agree, though, that in attracting investments to the industrial sector or the agricultural sector is very, very important as well. The agricultural sector related to food security. We have a lot of crops here in Egypt where that have the quality for exporting. The industrial sector, of course, especially if we move along with the plan of depending on local components as much as we can, then the industry could take us to a higher status.
I would like to thank you for hitting a nerve, what we are calling it, you hit a nerve concerning the agriculture part, which, let me quote you, you are saying it's a security. Yes, I do agree with you in terms by two things, which is, if we return it back to one of the most important theories for Maslow pyramid hierarchy of needs, if any human beings, the first thing, which is the physiological needs, which is if you didn't fulfill the physiological needs, you will not go for the other part of the pyramid, which is the first one is physiological needs, and the other part is feeling security and then belonging until reach to self-actualization. Accordingly, in another way, I can say it, if you are not owning your food, you are not owning your decision. This is what you said. It's a security part, and the government is giving high priority concerning this. But what I'm talking from other perspective, which is the economic perspective, we can say that for having what we are calling it a quick win, you have to focus on the service part and then the industrial part, which is crystal clear. We have a huge progress in this term, and it reflected on a lot of things. One of the most important things, the unemployment rate. You can find easily the unemployment rate, as far as I recall, it reached in 2013 to 13.5%. Nowadays you can see between 7 and 7.5%. It reduced.
Cut in half. Cut in half.
Thank you. You can see easily this is one of the most important things, which is supported by figures, and at the same time the government is giving priority for the technical education. We are investing in a lot of technical schools and a lot of industrial schools, a lot of things.
Right.
By those ways we are giving part for or investing on the industrial parts. And one of the most important and the crucial things, in my humble opinion, which is the SMEs part. The government is giving priority for the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. Why?
The backbone of any economy, I guess.
Thank you. Why is backbone of any economy? Metaphorically, you are saying that. Why we are saying that? Which is
because it employs a lot of people. Many small businesses, you know, you're not going to have multinationals and big companies scattered all around. I mean, you have to have these small. It reduces unemployment. I don't know. You tell us.
We inverted the role.
Yeah.
Now I'm the announcer. You're the guest. Yes, thank you so much. And one of the most important things that when you are focusing on this part, the industrial part, you are focusing to give a priority and for the SMEs, because I will take it from, I'm economic guy, I will talk about it from the economic perspective, simply to simplify to our audience and to anyone, to the man in the street. Actually, you can say it, if you have what we are calling it for metaphorically two companies, if our economy is built on two companies, if one of them is defaulted, what will happen? We will lose like 50% of our economy simply. But if we have a diversified economy, small and medium enterprises, if one is defaulted, what will happen? A new one will come. This is what we are calling it. This is something organic. For that reason...
You reminded me, Dr. Roshdy, when you were saying this, of former U.S. President Barack Obama in the middle of the global financial crisis, the mortgage crisis really, 2007, 2008 in the US, when he said, we're not going to allow this again, we're not going to have these big fat cats again, or too big to fail organizations again. So yeah, we shouldn't have those too big to fail. We should depend on, you know, across the board, solid economy.
Yes, thank you so much for recalling this quote for Mr. Barack Obama. Actually,
and we're talking about the world's biggest economy.
Yes, yes. As I told you, first of all, I'm an economic guy. I'm talking about the economic part. What we are calling it, if you would like to invest, ABC investment, you have to diversify your portfolio to mitigate the risk of defaulting, actually. And to simplify to our audience, don't say huge words like mitigation of the risk and something like that. If it's like, to mitigate the risk, you have to don't put all your eggs in one basket, simply. And this is, the government is giving a high priority and concentration.
A very nice explanation, allow me to say, for the importance of SMEs.
Thank you. The government and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is giving a concentration, high concentration, a focus for this part to encourage a lot of entrepreneurs, to encourage people, local people, or Egyptian citizens or foreigners to come Egypt, in terms of one of the most important things, in my humble opinion, for this part or this sector, the SMEs, which is the legislation. I believe this is one of the most important things. At other side, the government is focusing on it, especially on the latest changes of ministries. They introduced a new minister for investments. I'm totally optimistic that he will do a great things, because this is a crucial things, and this is a positive signal messages that the government and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is focusing on the investment part to bring more FDI. And you can see easily that for a lot of years there was a GAFI, General Authority for Investments, is the authority which is focusing on the direction of investments, with coordination with Ministry of Finance and Central Bank of Egypt and the International Cooperation Ministry. But nowadays we have to give a priority for this section to bring more FDI and to have a lot of things. And they are, I believe, their agenda in the coming few months actually to revamp or to restudy the law for investments and facilitate a lot of things, especially that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Prime Minister Mr. Dr. Madbouli did a great progress on this part, especially by giving the golden license and giving a lot of tax incentive or tax deviation for a lot of companies. With one condition, in my humble opinion, it was one of the smartest decision, that if you would like to take incentive, if you are a foreigner and you would like to invest, you have to have like 50 to 60%, as far as I recall, 60% from your ingredients or your components.
Local components.
Thank you. This will reflect on the economic wheel cycle. You have to deal with the small and medium enterprises, the Minecraft, a lot of things. The economic wheel cycle will totally invert, and this is aligned with one of the most important initiatives, which is we have a great initiative that as far as I recall, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was adopting it with coordination with all ministries to have what we are calling it exports, our export initiatives, to reach $1 billion. You can't see the harmony, and at the same time, to support the SMEs, the Ministry of Finance, and there was initiative from Central Bank and Ministry of Finance to give them loans with lower interest rate. As far as I call it, was 5 to 8%, based the condition, which is based on the sales turnover to the company. You can see the harmony, what I'm talking it on the table, which is harmony between all sectors of the government. You can see it easily nowadays.
Perfect. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have here for this edition of the Daily Debate. Dear viewers, on behalf of you, we thank very much our dear guest with us here in the studio, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economic expert. Always a great pleasure to have you with us, sir. Thank you very much.
And good evening to you and our audience. Have a great night.
Thank you, Dr. Roshdy, and thank you, dear viewers, for watching us. And please stay with Nile TV International.